Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and a young gentleman sent me this photo, and he's going to use it for making a trivet or a hot plate. It's really six by six or close enough. And I did a little measurement, and what he's going to do is use like 5 different species of wood and alternate the woods through here, and then put a frame around it. This is really easy. I used to make videos like this. So I measured this. It's like 1 inch. I'm holding down the control button and I'm going to make a 1 inch perfect square. Now, I've never really used the roughing tool before on anything, but it will work on this. I'm going to rough up that edge. I'm just clicking on the line. And what I would do right off the bat, I'd take my smooth tool or my shape tool and I'd get rid of that node. We don't need any extra nodes. So we've got one already done. It's still 1 inch, even though it's 1.9. This is still 1 inch. So we're going to move our nudge distance to 1 inch. Control D and make a duplicate. Now, before you go too far, you need to virtual segment delete key these extra lines. And when you do that, this is going to be broken up. Just keep that in mind. So we're going to go Control D and make another duplicate. And we're going to do it exactly like the model. But this time we don't have to delete those lines. Now what I would do is take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in and move it down 2 clicks. And what the Smart Fill tool has done, so I'm going to click on these and I'm going to left click No Fill. We can get rid of these. These are all broken apart. Now, one thing we need to do is get our outside edge smooth. You could do it without, but I think it'd be better in a frame. So just select these nodes and hit delete. You've got a straight edge there now. Now, let's Control D and move them down. And for the sake of the video, I'm just going to go ahead and do them all, but you would need to delete these double lines. And you know what? If we back up here, let's try this. Before we make another duplicate, let's see if this doesn't work. I'm pretty sure it is. We're going to delete these extra lines, and then when we make our duplicate, it should duplicate them equally, and we won't have to do this but 1 time instead of 16 times or whatever the number would be. Now, it'd really be a lot better. These are solid. I'm going to fill these in and move them down 2 clicks. So those are solid. The top ones are solid. I'm going to select all these and left click. Now I can move these down 2 clicks and we're getting there. We've already got basically our outside done. So we just need to make 3 more rows. We're going to select those, Control D. And see what I meant? Now I don't have to delete those lines. We're almost there. We've done the outside except for this bottom one. We're going to take the shape tool, select those 4 and delete. Select those 4 and delete. And there you go. Now what you'd want to do to make this border would be to select it all and create a boundary. Go to Effects, Contour, and I'm going to say a 1/2 inch contour around it. I'm going to hit apply, and it matches that. Now I would go in the range, break contour apart. I would actually make this a red hairline, just so you'll know it will cut out. And there you go. You've got a trivet. Now what's going to happen, you would run this. So let's change our nudge factor. This is like 6 inches. We're going to change our nudge factor to 7. We're going to grab our outside tray, our inside tray, and this is what you would cut out of a piece of wood. 6 by 6, and there'd be a 5 by 5. Then you would need to take another piece of wood for a backer board, and you would glue this. Basically, this is a frame, and you would glue it to your other board, and then that would give you a well. And then just cut these individual parts out on your laser And, you know, they're all going to be, these three are going to be exactly the same, and these two will be exactly the same. So you could cut multiples out. Well, these three are the same because they got a flat side. These 9 are the same, so you could cut them out of different species of wood and just put them in there. I hope that makes a little sense. Now you are going to have some kerf, but if you do with different species of wood, you can actually, and I have a video on it, how to put some wet glue, or all glue is wet, but put some glue and rub it down in the crack and let it just get tacky, and then sand it off, and the sawdust will go into the crack. You'll see the crack, but it won't be an exact tight fit. So you could contour these pieces a little bit, but it'd be a lot of work. I might make another video on how to do that. But this would be a pretty cool trivet. I'm not saying use this jagged edge, but it does work, and it does make the part. These 9 parts are identical, and we'll just kind of prove it right here. Let's cursor over, and now let's cursor over, and now let's move down 1 inch. And those pieces should be identical. They're on top of each other. So with that said, you could cut these out of different species. Now I would not cut them butted up to each other. I would separate them out and then put them back. You know, take your, let's say you're going to make 3 of these out of maple, and then what's so nice about this, you put your maple in there and run those 3. Then you could run the 3 in walnut, or the 3. You wouldn't have to do, you don't have to use all the pieces, because since they're identical. Anyway, I hope it helped him a little bit.